Here's our tour of our Natural History Museum, and then I'll show you the Natural History Museum. So here's one. We've got a timeline and then a diorama that has different fossils that we can find in the Sandia Mountains. We've got another one that shows the Three Sisters and then maybe the history with some kinds of fossils that we can find. We've got a website that you can explore, and this website has about how the Sandia is formed with a model. We've got some fossils, right? Mostly marine fossils that we find in the Sandias. We've got tectonic plate information, so how tectonic plates move, and we've got a timeline, just the general timeline. The oldest layer is the Archean because it's at the bottom, right? The mountains were once underwater if we find marine fossils. And then our home page, we've got sea sponges and a fossil slab. This one is an experiment, so if you follow the instructions, you can see information with the timeline, the rifting, and Three Sisters volcanoes, and then we've got an interactive, so you're gonna map a volcano, make and map a volcano, right? We'll get a video of that later. Here's another diorama that shows, it has labeled Sandia Mountains. We've got some arthropod fossils, we've got some trilobite fossils, which I think is actually, we've moved them. This one, right? There's our trilobite. This one we actually do a fossil dig, so we can like uncover, like archaeologists or like paleontologists do. We can uncover the fossils that are embedded in the ground using some gentle tools. And then we have a timeline that goes along with it that matches the fossils that they made. T-Rex, Coelophysis, the Beastie Beast, the Alamosaurus, right? And information about them. This one we have a map of New Mexico, and then we have a geologic timeline with the different rock layers that we find, representing them, and the different fossils we find in each. And this shows that we've had a history in the Sandia Mountains of being under a shallow sea, and then an explanation and an image. And then we actually have this interactive model, 3D model, so we can see the Rio Grande Rift Valley. There's the Rio Grande, and we can see that it rifts, pulls apart. I only have one hand right now, right? So this is actually a moving model that students could do. This one, we have the Three Sisters and the Sandia Mountains. We've got some layers, and then we have the Sandias over here. Sorry, the Rio Grande, Sandias, and the Three Sisters. And in this one, you can actually take lava and you can let it fall down, and you can see that it forms a new layer on top of these older layers. So that's showing the law of superposition. And then we have our instructions here. We got our timeline. We got some information about how the Three Sisters formed, and then some plate tectonics. And it looks like it's not quite done. Here we have information about the Beastie Beast. So here's our model of the Beastie Beast, which was found in New Mexico. And then we have a really good explanation about the Beastie Beast if you want to pause and read. We can flip this up and see. Here we go. There's an image, what it looks like in its size, its scale. Yeah. Okay, and then this one was different layers, so they stacked one on top of the other, and then you could look at different layers, and you could do a fossil dig using these magnets that students put on these bars. And then inside here you can find different fossils in different layers, and you can catch them with your magnet. So it's like a gamified version of a fossil dig. So here's one, and it looks like it's a marine fossil. Okay, here's one that is, we have our timeline, youngest to oldest, right? And we've got some sample fossils. We've got an ammonite, we've got a fish, here's another ammonite, and then we have the Cambrian period and what it might have looked like when we were under, when the Sandias, or the layers that formed them, were under the shallow seas. And then we have different information about the different fossils that you find in the Sandias. And we have a little Sandia Mountain a three-dimensional model with a trilobite and a fish fossil. And then we have a comic that actually we turned into a zine. So we like printed all these and then folded them up so students could actually look through that as well.